Hello, I'm Mark Dolan, and in this video I'm going to show you how to set up and use your WPV-CERT two-way radio. If you are a WPV-CERT member and would like to purchase a radio, a link will be in the video description below. We encourage all of our WPV-CERT members to purchase a radio so you can stay in touch with other CERT members in the event of a disaster, public safety power shutoff, or other times when regular communications are not available. So let's get started with the unboxing. With your purchase, you'll receive the main radio box, as well as a AA battery pack. In the box, we have our main radio body, as well as a lithium battery pack. On the bottom, we have our user's guide and a quick reference guide. The antenna, a belt clip for the battery pack, a desktop charger, and the power cord, as well as a wrist strap. First thing you're going to want to do is take the antenna. We're going to screw that onto the top of the radio, and you want to just use light finger tension. The next thing we can do is attach the belt clip to the lithium battery pack, and to do this, the best way is to squeeze the belt clip so that this piece is horizontal, and then you can slide it into the slot until you hear a click. Now the belt clip is attached. To set up the desktop charger, we're just going to plug in the power cord into the back, and then you can plug that into a regular wall outlet. Let's talk now about the different ways to power the radio. The radio can be powered with the rechargeable lithium pack, and that can be charged using the desktop charger base. There are two lights here, red indicating charging and green indicating that the battery has been charged. When you have a very depleted battery, the red charging light might blink for the first 20 minutes or so, and that's normal. If the red light continues to blink past about 30 minutes, you probably have a defective lithium pack and you'll need to purchase a new one. It takes several hours, 6 to 7 hours, to charge a completely depleted lithium pack. You can also charge using the battery clipped to the radio, and the way that we connect the battery to the radio is to simply push on the back, and you'll hear 2 clicks. Now the battery is attached, and we can put the radio and battery into the charger like that. Now, we've included a AA battery pack because it's very likely that if you have this radio stored for a long time in your CERT backpack, that perhaps your lithium battery pack won't be fully charged, or there won't be an easy way to recharge it. And so the AA battery pack is a simple way to power the radio using regular AA batteries. And to open the AA pack, you just use 2 fingers up at the top and give it a little tug, and this plastic piece will come off. And then you can see we've got room for 5 AA batteries. Now I already have one that I've loaded the batteries in, so you can see what that looks like. And we highly recommend using the Energizer Ultimate Lithium batteries. These are lithium batteries that are not rechargeable. They're just single-use batteries, but they have a very long shelf life, and greater power than regular AA batteries. So this is a really good choice. We'll put a link in the video description as well on where to purchase these. To release the battery from the radio, you'll see on either side are two spring-loaded buttons that you need to push down, and then you can remove the battery and you can install the AA pack same way. You'll hear 2 clicks. And just like with the lithium pack, you can also install the belt clip onto your AA pack in the same way, like that. Now it's very important when you store the radio that you disconnect the battery. And the reason for that is that even in the off position, the radio uses a small amount of power, and over a long period of time it will deplete the battery. So always store it with the batteries detached from the radio like this. Alright, now that we have the radio unboxed and set up, let's talk about the basic functionality of the radio. I've gone ahead and already attached my lithium battery pack. And to turn the radio on, I just simply turn this knob at the top. You'll notice the radio is turned on and it makes some beeps, which you can just ignore. That's normal. To adjust the volume, you would rotate this knob up or down. And to turn the radio off, just turn it all the way back until it clicks. This knob at the top of the radio is called the channel selection knob. It lets us change the channel that's listed here on the display, and you'll see as I rotate the knob, it changes the channel up or down. We'll talk more about channels and what they are a little bit later. On the left-hand side of the radio, we have 3 buttons. We have our push to talk button. That's the button that you're going to push when you want to transmit. We have a FM radio button, which turns on the FM radio functionality. And we have a button for the flashlight, which is just this little white LED that lights up here at the top. You can turn that on and off with that button. Now, these additional buttons here on the front of the radio, we will talk about in a little bit more detail later in the video, but for now, you don't need to know about them because the 3 most important buttons on the radio are the on-off and volume, the channel selection, and the push-to-talk buttons. So let's talk more about channels and what they are. Well, for radios to communicate between each other, they need to be set to use the same frequency and settings. Channels are simply the way that radio frequencies and settings have been programmed into the radio and given a name for easy access. We've already programmed the radio with all the frequencies and settings, so you don't need to worry about those details. And I'll explain the different channels and when you would use those later in this video. And if you're interested in learning more about radio technology, I'll mention amateur radio as well a little bit later in the video. For now, you just need to know that a channel has a name and a number. The channel name is displayed on the LCD, along with the channel number on the right-hand side. You'll want to be sure to select the correct channel on the radio you intend to use before pushing the push-to-talk button to transmit. There are 2 ways to select a channel. The first way is, as we mentioned before, using the channel selection knob at the top. There's another way, and that's to directly enter the channel number. This radio has 199 possible memory locations for channels, and so we use a 3-digit number when we type in a channel number. So for example, right now I'm on channel SK1, which is channel number 5. If I wanted to change to, let's say, channel 1, I would type in 001. And you see now I'm on the channel 1, which is called the WD1 channel. Now that you have your radio set up and ready to use, let's talk a little bit more about how radios operate. When radios talk between each other without the use of a repeater, we call this simplex. And radios are line of sight, meaning that obstructions such as hills, mountains, and buildings, trees, and other things can block the radio signal. The effective range of simplex communications is roughly 1 to 3 miles, but it can be much further under ideal conditions or much less under less than ideal conditions. We can improve the range of radios by using something called a repeater. A repeater is usually located at a high location, like at the top of a mountain, and as we can see in the diagram, these two radios can't communicate because there's a big mountain in between them. But if we were using a repeater system, the radios would be able to communicate to the repeater, and therefore they'd be able to stay in touch. We currently have 2 active repeaters that we have up and running. The first one is WD1, that's channel 1 on your radio, and PV1, and that's channel 3 on your radio. If you're currently in the Skyline branch area, you can use the PV1 channel for now. We've programmed some additional channels in here for future use as additional repeaters are brought online. The WD1 and PV1 channels will be where we have our regular nets, where you can practice using a radio, and you can find the timing and dates of those nets on our website. We've also set up 6 channels which can be used for tactical communications. These are simplex channels, so they don't use a repeater and are therefore useful for short-range communication. These are channels CTAC 1 through CTAC 6, and those are channels 11 through 16 on your radio. A good example of when you would use a tactical channel is, let's say that you're on a CERT team and you're assigned to go search a building, and you want to stay in touch between your team members. You could choose one of these tactical channels and stay in touch using that. So, how do you talk on the radio, or what we call transmitting? When you're ready to send a message over the radio, you're going to want to start by thinking about what you're going to say first. It's very important you just don't start talking and rambling on the radio, because we want to keep messages short and to the point. When you're ready to start talking, you're going to hold the radio 2 to 3 inches from your mouth, and then press and hold the push-to-talk button to begin transmitting. When you finish speaking, release the push-to-talk button. A common mistake is to speak too quickly after pushing the push-to-talk button. You want to pause about 1 second after pushing the push-to-talk button before you begin talking. Another way to think about this is the push-to-talk button is actually the push-then-talk button. If you're too quick to talk after pushing the button, then the beginning of your message will get clipped off and the receiver won't hear the beginning of the message. Now let's talk about some basic best practices when using the radio. Make sure you're on the correct channel. Maybe that's WD1 or PV1 or one of the tactical channels. Just make sure that you've selected the channel that you intend to use before pushing the push-to-talk button. You want to test before you venture out. So if you're at the command post and you've been assigned a task, before you leave the command post, make sure you do a radio check and that the radio is working properly. Only one person can talk at a time, so listen for other traffic and don't talk over others. Wait for a turn before transmitting. We use plain language in emergency communications, so we don't use 10 codes or other jargon. Just about the only 10 code you could use is 10-4, since everyone knows that one. Speak in a normal tone of voice, and speak clearly. And hold the radio vertically for best performance. Okay, so that should be enough information to get you started using the radio. We do hope to hear you on the radio soon. Be sure to participate in our upcoming nets. For the times and dates of those, please visit our website, WPV-CERT.org/radio. We also have frequently asked questions and the ways to get in contact with us if we can answer any questions for you. If you'd like to learn about a few additional features of the radio, please stay tuned for the video coming up right now. Now let's talk about a feature of the radio, which is the single and dual channel mode. Right now the radio is in single channel mode, and you'll see that a single channel is listed at the top of the LCD screen. To enable dual mode, we press the SD button, and now you'll see that there is a second channel that is indicated on the lower portion of the LCD screen. When the radio is in dual channel mode, it will listen to both of the channels that you have selected. When you press the push to talk button, you will transmit on the channel that's indicated by the arrow. So in this case, the upper or A channel location. To easily change between the A and B channel locations, press the AB button. You'll now see the arrows pointing on the B channel location, and if I was to press the push to talk button, I would be transmitting on the B channel. To disable this, just press SD again, and you will go back to single channel mode. You can actually still press the AB button in single channel mode, and you will now select the B channel location. Again, if you were to transmit, you would be transmitting on this frequency. So you can easily select two different frequencies using the AB button. You would use this option when you don't necessarily want to listen to two channels at once, but you do want to quickly be able to select a channel to listen and transmit on. Now, why would you ever use this? Well, one possible example is, let's say that you're working in a CERT team and your team members have radios and you wish to stay in touch with your team members on a tactical channel. You could enable the single and dual mode, select a tactical channel, such as CTAC1, and on your A channel location, you would maintain the channel that you're communicating with the command post. So in this case, you can continue to be in contact with the command post and with your team members on the tactical channel, and easily select between the two using the AB button. The radio has the ability to listen to regular FM radio broadcasts. To activate this function, press the middle button on the left-hand side of the radio, and you'll see the FM frequency display appear. To change the channel, use the channel select knob to select the channel you want. And if you want to save an FM frequency into a memory location, the radio has a total of 18 memory locations for FM channels in two banks, Bank 1 and Bank 2. The radio calls these Team 1 and Team 2. To change between them, you press the number button. So now I'm in Bank or Team 2. If I push it again, I'm back to Bank 1 or Team 1. To save to a particular location, 1 through 9, you press Menu and then the number. So in that case, I saved that frequency into memory location 1. If I was to go change to a different frequency and I wanted to recall the memory location, just press the number. To turn the FM radio functionality off, just press the middle button on the left-hand side again, and it's now disabled. Now, when listening to an FM station, if you received a transmission on a channel that you had selected, then the FM radio will temporarily turn off, and you'll be able to listen to the received transmission. Once it stops, then it will turn the FM radio back on. So you won't miss any transmissions if you're listening on the FM station.